We know we need a website for our business, but are we expecting less from it than we should? Back in the day, people used to call websites a brochure, while some people still just see it as a must-have and what I call the most expensive flyer on the internet. It can and should be so much more than that. I like to see a website as your storefront or welcoming office, a place where people walk in or land on and know they're in the right place, that it's feeling good, they get you, and that they can ask for help, book time, or buy from you right there and then. So I want to ask you a question. Is that the experience that you're having with your website? If not, this is the episode for you. Hi, my name is Rachel Klaver, and I'm a content marketing coach and strategist for small business owners, and this is my podcast, Confident Content. And even though I love content, I do know that sometimes content is just not enough to get you the leads you need. Look, I'm not going to be egotistical about this. I am a realist. It's great content combined with technical setup, branding, and some skills, and putting all that content out there in the right way that really makes it work. So today, that's what we're focusing on, and we're focusing particularly on websites. So I'm just laughing because I say particularly. I've taught my kids to do it. My husband, Rod, thinks it's hilarious because it's meant to be particularly, and I say particularly. So I'm trying not to say it. Anyway, we're going to continue. So today I talked to Iona Elwood-Smith. Hi, Iona. She's the founder and owner of Grow My Business, a website company in Wellington, New Zealand, with a speciality in helping service-based business owners get a website that helps make them money. Iona and I both share a love of having converting content on websites, but we also both know that you need to have some other things in place working on your website for it to become that trust-building, lead-generating powerhouse of a salesperson for your business. So if you'd like your website to do more of the heavy lifting, then this episode is for you. Hey, Iona, welcome to the show. It's lovely to have you. Now, I will say that Iona is also one of my clients. She's here as an expert today, and I want to say that when Iona first approached me to work with me, I was a little bit awestruck because I think she is the bee's knees when it comes to doing what she does. She has an incredible gift, particularly in helping and empowering women. This is not part of her business, this is extra. Women in business really grow and develop, and I actually have known her for quite a long time because I actually went and spoke at one of her events, and I'm going to do this year too, which I'm super excited about. So she is someone that I highly respect in this space. Now I've made her super nervous by saying that, but Iona, do you want to just introduce yourself to everybody first and tell us a little bit about what you do at Grow My Business and why this is really important to you?
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. Yeah, so I call myself a website strategist, and not everybody knows what that is. But basically, I do the thinking part behind it all, because that's the part that's important, right? Everybody thinks, it's important to get a beautiful website. Well, newsflash, ugly websites work, but it's getting all the right combination, like you were saying, about content and all of those things. And so for me, my background is actually in business development, business operations, and I was doing some business coaching with people, which I actually hated, and I ended up working harder than my clients did on their businesses. And I love business, and there's so much possibility and opportunity. So for me, I started doing websites for them because it's just that platform where you can describe your business to somebody that you've never met before, and that's quite a big ask. But, you start talking about your target market, your key messages, all of that. Your website is your business hub. And so people just asked me to build more and more websites. And that started 8 years ago. Started with little websites and have built the business. We have a team of 5 now. And my son joined me when he turned 16 and went to design school. He worked part-time and he now works full-time in the business. So every day I just wake up excited about possibilities of new businesses and just being part of that change process and just seeing the wow factor go on for people. And that, as I say, it's not always about the design and dare I say it, the content, but
it's not just that.
It is. Yeah. It's putting it all together, and that's the part that I bring to the table.
Yeah, so like one of the things, and I know we're going to probably talk about a few different things here, but I was talking to you, actually one of our coaching sessions, but I was mentioning that one of the things we've got to do this year is to upgrade what we're sitting on, because we're on a very old WordPress template. And so one of the things that is penalizing us in terms of search, and I'm pretty lazy around this stuff because so many of our clients come to us from our content and then come to our website. So they're pretty on fire to come there, but you still want to eliminate barriers. And one of my barriers is that our website loading speed is quite a lot slower than it could be. It's not in that danger zone, but it's definitely there. And that's one of those things, right? There's nothing more annoying than going to a website and it taking ages to load. Like, I'm the most impatient person with that sort of stuff. And that's the sort of thing you're saying it really counts, right? That's not content.
No, it's not content, and it is. It's actually about the site visitor and their experience, and that's absolutely what it's all about. And so, like you say, I mean, we're busy people. There's a saying that says, you've got 3 seconds to capture attention because we have a short attention span. I don't believe that to be true. I think we watch like 10 episodes of Netflix in a row, right? So
exactly.
It's just not true. We binge watch when we want to. So what it is that if you're not capturing through design, through content, through just a really sleek experience, then that's where you lose people's interest. So,
I really like that, because I have a bugbear with that whole idea. Like, around that quick thing, like that people's concentration pans are getting shorter, so we need to have this short form content. Well, if that was true, why are TikTok going to 10-minute reels and then finding out that those are actually the ones that are converting better, like those longer ones? If that was true, why is it so many Gen Zs are hooked on YouTube, and they're the ones that grew up with all that short attention span space? It's not that we have a short attention span for things, it's more that we have to stay captivated enough to know and feel like
more
it's
selective.
Us.
Yeah,
we're more selective.
We want good stuff. Don't throw us, the same generic rubbish that everybody else does. If you're doing the same as everybody else and nothing changes, well,
then we're going to have a problem.
Yeah, you've got a problem.
Now, I don't normally out people so fast, but you do have, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, this is live by the time, because it's going to come out in a couple of weeks, that I'm recording. I hate saying that to people, sorry. I know that you're getting this today, but this is recorded in the past. But hopefully it'll be live by then. But I'm hoping it is. I know, make it happen. But you have developed an amazing free resource. And so I'm just going to say that we won't be able to cover everything that we're going to talk about. But I've read it, because obviously as your coach, I got to see it and have a look. And it's such a great thing around the 15 things your website really needs to have. So I'm going to say that we're talking about some stuff now, but I would really encourage anyone to download that from you, because it is such a great resource on just checking through, is my website meeting the mark in these areas? Because that's important. What I love is that Iona is not talking in a techie way. She's really breaking it down so that you can understand it, because none of us feel good when we're talking to someone and going, cool, and no idea what you're talking about. So you've really stopped that and removed that kind of like freaky experience. But let's get started with this. So obviously when you're going through that strategy process, and we would probably have a similar strategy process around a marketing strategy or website strategy around really narrowing that arrow of who we're talking to, what we're going to offer them, and those sort of things. So if we just put that to the side, because we both know that that's an essential part of it, what are some of the things that people just tend to get wrong or don't think are important when it comes to websites and how they need to function?
Yeah, good question. So, look, for me, it always is, I touched on it before, the user experience. And by that, it's, how simple can you make it for people to find your stuff? That's all it is. Because they've come with a purpose. You mentioned, with your website, they already know. So they want to know, they want to have a quick view, what it is, so as you said, who you are, what you offer, why you. So this is your point, your time to shine. It's what is your distinctive difference, and then give them the button to click and go. Like you and people just put all their crap on a homepage, and that's one of my bugbears, right? It's
God,
like,
so me too.
your homepage is a transit lounge. It is not the destination.
Oh, I love that line. Your homepage is a transit lounge, not a destination. Okay, so let's just talk about old school website design and what we're saying here. Because I know that when I was first, I've been doing this stuff for years. And back in the day when I was doing marketing stuff and we'd talk about how to do the website, it was all about, you got to get them to the contact page. But often, and then you're like on the contact page, then they're going to have to find your content. But what you're saying is to eliminate that friction point as well, eh? Make things as easy it is for people to take that next step in the journey.
Yeah, 100%. And be aware. And look, the thing is with your, we talked about the design and the content. That's all directing them. They're pathways. You're creating pathways through your website to where you want the client to go, because you know who your target market is. So give them the steps along the way to take. So if you know that they need to understand the package, take them to the package. It's not all contact me, because then they arrive and they don't even know really what you do. And you want qualified people coming through. You don't want randoms who are not your customers. Your time's precious too. So it is just about making it simple, knowing what your clients are coming to, and cut the overwhelm. If you've got 6 different services, pick your top 3.
Yeah, I'm so with you on this one.
It just and like the old fashioned. I was talking about this the other day. I did a presentation like the old navigation, and it's got like 4 tiers, and click this and this drops down. Again, we don't have a short attention span, but we do have online overwhelm.
Oh,
and
we do.
If there's too many choices, we just circle the drain. We just don't know what to click or where to go, and then we just decide that Netflix and a piece of cake is way easier, right? So,
yeah.
or I'll go to your competition who made this really streamlined for me. But
do you know? Sorry to interrupt you, Iona.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a terrible. I should have warned you at the start. I mean, you know it, but I do interrupt. I apologize. But I think I've told you the story that I stripped our website, about 5 or 6 years ago, to a 3 or 4 page website. Before that, I think it was 53 pages. A lot of them on that drop down, and people would stay on our website for a long time. They'd browse for ages, but they wouldn't ever take action. And I find that drop down thing really frustrating when I'm trying to use it as well. I think, why do you think people do it? Why do you think people do that on their website? Because I've got a theory around it, but I'd love to know what yours is.
Yeah, it's like you go to a marketplace, right? And you put out all your wares, and then people will choose the one. But the thing is that they've come to you for your expertise. It's your job to direct them.
Yeah, I like that.
And so if you put everything out there, then it's like, oh, yeah, this is good. Oh, but what about this one? Oh, and then they've got this other one. And like you say, they've gone through your 50 pages. They forgot why they came.
Yeah, and quite often, even on those pages, there isn't even a call to action if someone was interested in that thing, right?
Yep.
Can I tell you another thing I think with websites, and I think this is why having someone like you is so important, is I think people often know they need a website very early on in their business, and it's much easier making one after you've been in the year. Like I'll often say, do one now, but probably in 1 or 2 years, you probably have to redo it, and you should always be redoing it every couple of years as you change. But I think people often use designing their website as their pseudo business plan. So they're kind of going, I want to offer this and I want to offer this, and so I'm just going to kind of put it all on the website and kind of see what sticks. Do you think that happens too?
It happens all the time. And because, when people start out too, they're not really 100% clear themselves. And by putting everything out, they think that it's going to help see what people are going to go for. But it actually undermines them, because what we come to your website for is to see your expertise and your authority. So if you've put everything out and given us all these options, we don't get a sense of either of those things. Because we come to a website, we want to start trusting you. That's a big factor. So getting reviews, all of those kind of things, they're more better. It's better to have that kind of thing than having 6 services. You better have 6 reviews than 6 services. Pick 2 services and get reviews, get social proof. Cut whatever content you've written, cut it in half, because you've probably written a book.
Yeah, probably. Actually, can I just say that from a soundbite perspective of this, I love all your little sayings. Like, I can tell you one thing that you're doing that so many of our other clients that I want to happen to do. You really know the little things that you'll say, and those are some of the things you can do. If we're talking about content on a website, those are the things that as you develop and become proficient in what you're doing, putting more and more of those from a content perspective on your website helps people feel really safe and secure with you, don't they?
Oh, yeah, look, 100%. Yeah, for sure.
So, okay, so let's just talk. So we talked about narrowing the services. I really like that. Making the website easy to use. Is there a hack or something that people can do to see how easy it is for their current website to use? Is there anything that you suggest that they do that they could do to see how easy it is for someone else to use to kind of test it?
Look, there are all sorts of online tools, but the best thing really is get your friends, get people to do it and give them a job. Just say, look, I want you to come to my website with the idea that you're interested in this particular service, and get them to see how many steps and actually sit alongside them and just see, because it's actually astonishing. There are tools that track how people use your website. So you can do Hotjar is a good one. Clarity is another one as well. And basically it shows how people are using your website. So you'll be totally amazed. And people, like, they write these great big long homepages. People very rarely scroll past like the third screen. Is, you know, you're doing well if you've got people have gone past 3 sections on your website.
That was a change for me, because our website, even after I'd made it quite natural and like pared back, is our contact form was at the bottom. And I was doing a presentation which included how to use Hotjar, and you could see by the time they got to the bottom part, there was only, I think, 5% of people who had hit the landing page were still at that bottom part. And someone in the audience said to me, well, if it's 85% at the top, why don't you just put that contact form at the top? And I looked at them and I was like, oh, damn you, that's annoying. And I was like, but I'm going to do it. And I said, I'm going to do that. And literally within 48 hours, the leads started coming in. And all it was is I'd moved this thing that was an important part and was working, but I put it in the right place.
Yeah. And that's it. And it's always about how people are using the site, and what is intuitive to you is not intuitive to other people, because you've had the thought process and you go there, or you go, oh, and I like this color, and it's like, yeah, you might like that color, but no one can see it, so they're not using it, they're not clicking on it, you know. I'm
laughing because I was ranting about this, and we had all those designers in our group who were like, oh, no, we can't have any of these colors. Sorry for you guys listening, I'm supporting you. I know it has to look beautiful, but it has to stand out on the page. You have to choose a color that stands out.
Yeah, and it's always back to our business. What do you actually want people to do? You want them to contact you.
Yeah.
Well, if, you know, or book a call, or buy your
it's
stuff.
It's not enough for it to be beautiful. It has to be beautiful and work.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And people skip that part. They actually get tied up, especially when people are building themselves. And, I am an advocate of first iteration of website, of building it yourself, and then you get a sense of your business better. But you get lost in what it is you offer and how you want it to look, and you have no degrees of separation of being able to stand back and see, actually, what is my potential client looking for, and how can I make that super easy for them.
And I want to talk about this kind of contrast and making those things obvious, because one of the pushbacks that you may have heard in that first coaching session around websites was someone said, I can't use lime green. I'm like, it doesn't have to be lime green. Like, it doesn't have to be this garish color. Like, I could get away with lime green because I have brights in my thing if I wanted to do that. In fact, one of my landing pages does have lime green as a button. But it's not actually about making it garish. It's just making it pop or stand out, so that when people are scrolling, they notice that that's where they go to take the next step. It's like a choose your own adventure kind of, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I had one lady one year, and she built this website. She said, oh, and take a look at my website. It was beautiful. It was a baby product. It was so beautiful. And then I clicked. There was no buttons, she had these big, beautiful images, and I'm clicking, and I'm going, Leslie, I can't buy on your website. She completely forgot to add in all that. There was no way for me to buy. Like, she built the shop in the back.
It's so common.
It's like,
it's
so
common.
Dude, you had one job.
Yeah, I do that. Can I ask a question actually on this? And we might have different opinions. I don't actually know your answer on it. So is one call to action on that homepage enough, or do you think you should have more than one? And should you have different types of call to actions?
No, I think you should have 2. I have a primary and a secondary. So what is the main thing that you want people to do? and then you just reiterate that through the page. But the reality is that
so hang on. So can I just ask, primary, so you're saying one type, the primary, reiterate, that means you may have multiple options for them to take that action through the page. So
Yes.
there might be more than one time that you have that call to action, maybe in a slightly different phrase or option.
No, I don't
page.
change the phrase.
Okay, you keep the phrase the same.
So it is about that consistency. So anytime, so mostly like I work a lot with service-based business. So normally it's getting the call. So it's making yourself available, and you decide on your language, depending on your positioning.
Like, call me now.
Yep.
Book a time today.
Yeah, but don't change that through the site. Don't have all of those, because that's quite jarring. But I do. Now the homepage is a little bit different because, as I say, it's a gateway. So you should have your click-throughs to service pages and things like that. But if you're wanting people to take an action for here and now, it should just be one per page, primary. I like a secondary, because secondary is a new word, but there should be like a slow option. If they're not ready to take that first step, what else can you offer them to engage? So often it's a download or something like that.
That lead generation option for those people that are... Yeah, because we talk about, and I don't know if your numbers are the same, but I always say that the numbers I share, so they could be different to yours, is that 3% of people that come to your website, between 1% and 5%, but 3% are ready to take action today. Around 30% could be almost there and just need like a little nudge, and could be, take you over in the next 28 to 60 days. Then there's this people that might take a lot longer, like years, and then there's 30% that are never going to buy from you. So that's kind of, I don't know if that's similar to the stats you use.
Yeah, that would be pretty much.
Similar.
I think potentially, your action and thinking about it numbers for most businesses would be lower. I mean, you've been around for a while, you've got a very wide reach.
Probably 1% is probably more accurate.
I think really the conversion rate on a website is probably 1% to 2%.
Yeah, I agree with that.
For most people. But I think that you can get a good 20% with a slower option for those people that are not quite there.
So a couple of things with that. Let's just talk about, because this is my content thing hooking in. So the first thing is around that 1% to 2%. Let's just talk about that from numbers, because we say percent. Let's just actually, for those of us who've forgotten how percentages work, that means for every 100 people that come to your website, it's likely only 1 or 2 will book with you or buy from you or take that step to connect with you to talk to you about a sales process. So when you're looking at your traffic in terms of analytics, if you're only getting 100 a month, it's why you're only getting 1 or 2 leads a month, and not every lead's going to convert to sales. So that's the numbers we're talking about. So when you're looking at it, you have to be looking at the numbers game of thinking about how many leads you need to have coming in from your website in particular, and then how much traffic, good traffic, do I need to get to my website to get those leads? And I know we're not talking about that, but that's part of this, right? Like that is that.
Absolutely.
Side.
And that's where the marketing really, just dovetails into websites, because people will say, oh, I've got my website now. When will the hordes arrive?
When will the stuff? It's like,
dude.
You do a few things, unfortunately.
I always say, look, you've just opened a shop in the back end of Ekatahuna, excuse me.
Yeah, it is
kind
of, sorry, Ekatahuna. We didn't mean to have a go at you. But it is exactly a really great way of saying it. You're basically in the most remote rural community of anywhere you can imagine. It's a dirt road to your house. It's barely even noticeable. And here you are, and you're trying to get more people to come in. But you've got no signpost or anything.
You've got
directing.
no signpost. You're not telling anybody about it. One of the first things, we send out to people is right now, share it with your mum, share it with friends, share it with family, start getting all of that, send it to random people, get traffic to your website and start feeding it. But if you're not doing marketing around it, it's going to be a long haul.
Yeah. Okay, I really like that. Now, the secondary one, again, I'm just going to hit on the marketing thing because I know you know this too, but because we're working on it. Not that you didn't know before, but we're working on it. That download, it's not enough just to have that secondary download. You need to have a way to stay in touch with those people, because that slow burn is the keeping in contact with them, right? So that's just a little bit separate from what we're talking about, but is also important.
Yeah, absolutely. Because for a lot of people, they need
for those of you that are listening,
if they're not there and they just need that nurturing, they need those steps to go through towards getting over, they need to build that, they need to get to know you. They need to feel like you are the expert and you know what you're talking about. And they need to start trusting you. And the only way to do that is through communication. Well, if they haven't booked a call, then the emails is the way to go.
Yeah, so I really like that because, when I talk about conversion rates, my highest conversion rate is actually on my emails, which come from those slow burn leads. But let's go back to the website. So we've got our call to actions, and I love that. And when we talked about, because you work with service-based businesses, so the options for that action is call me. What are the other options? Because I don't want that one.
Yeah. So what other so you've got call me, and then you've got you do like the download the free resource or find out. For most service-based businesses, it's a lot about that trust, which I mentioned before. So they need to get to know you a little bit more. So for the homepage, if you're not doing your download on there as your secondary, then get them to your about page. It's still the second most read page of a website. And people just, honestly, they just put the most random stuff up there. It's like, hi, I'm Iona, I do this cool stuff. It's like, wow.
Okay, so my favorite is when they decide to use it as a biography and a detailed timeline of everything that's happened in their business since 1932.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. So we send out a content framework for people, and we always say, it's like, and one of my big bugbears, it's probably the same for you, Rachel, is that I hate website speak. So people that write content of what they think should be on a website rather than actually talking to a person. And so the same, and they do they start writing their about page, and they start talking about themselves in third person for a start.
Yes.
There's no connection, and
Yeah, I think connection's really important, and we could actually spend our entire time talking about us pages, because I am but we're actually doing some stuff in our coaching program coming up about us. I'd love your impact and your input into that, because I think it is such an important thing, and people do get it wrong, and we also try to talk ourselves up like we're doing some sort of job application when it's actually about an emotional connection.
Yeah, and connection throughout the whole website. I mean, since COVID especially, you talked before about how websites used to be in like brochures, and they were so informational and just all this text, So, I'm a bit dyslexic, so I see a chunk of text, I'm out of there, right? So I don't
like
read it. Give me a good old bullet point any day.
I love bullet points. I actually used to, when I was talking about internet, when I wrote my book on internet dating, I used to say women love paragraphs, men love bullet points, but I actually love bullet points as well. When I was talking about dating profiles, I always like a good bullet point. I'll be like, oh yeah, check, 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 check. It's good. I like them.
Yeah, perfect. But what has fundamentally changed since COVID, and I think it's because we all went into isolation, is that people are just looking so much for connection.
I agree.
So the websites that look like that they could be anywhere or built by anyone. A lot of e-commerce did really well through COVID and then failed miserably straight after because there was no depth, there was no connection or anything behind it. And so bringing that connection through your design, because it reflects back to your ideal customer and your own personality, and bringing that through in the content, they're all really, really key to a successful website, because people want to reach out to you because they think,
they do. They want to feel connected,
cool.
right?
Yeah.
And
they
it's
want to feel
interesting.
connected.
You can have the same target audience and have a different way of connecting. Like I'm interviewing someone later on today, Nat, who's Nat Tolpoff, and one of the things I'm going to talk with her about is the fact that she and I have a completely different style. And I used to find it quite difficult because we have a different style, but we actually have the same audience. We actually work, but people will often either work with me or her. They wouldn't often work with both of us. And the thing was, it's understanding that your voice will attract the right people for you. That's how people create that audience. Like that's how you do it. And so I really love this topic, and I'm going to try and get us off the content because I could talk about this all day. But I will say, if I go to an About Us page, even if I love let's talk about e-commerce, if I love the products, I remember seeing these gorgeous pajamas and I kept on looking at them. But when I would go to the About Us page, there was nothing on there for me to identify who it was. So I couldn't buy them. I just didn't trust the website enough to know who was the face behind the brand, because it was a New Zealand brand. I'm like, I know pretty much a lot of the people in the space, Who is it? Why are they hiding their face? Why are they hiding their story? I don't trust it. I never bought from them.
Yeah. Trust is a huge thing on a website because, people might have been following you on social media, but they might have been recommended or they've just done a search, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So they just don't trust you yet.
Yeah.
And we're scared of being scammed and all sorts of things on there. So we do look for the story behind it all.
So, okay, so we've talked a little bit about user experience. We've talked about my favorite things, which is content. So all those things. Let's take some other things that you think people need to think about when they're doing their website. Like, what are some other things that they have to consider to get that website really functioning well for them? So, what call to actions?
Yeah, so we've got call to actions. I don't want to go back into content, but
go. Let's just do it. Look, I'm going to be happy about it. Don't worry about it. We'll do it. It sounds great.
Well, it's actually about thinking that your website is your reputation as well. So you mentioned that your website was going really slow. So look, those kind of things, like the technical things, you can fix it if it's going too slow. Talk to your host provider. So probably your images are too big. There's a whole lot of things that have slowed your website down. So you can look for a website speed test online and just bang in your website. It'll tell you. Mobile optimization is a big one. Everything's on mobile these days. So if it doesn't work well on mobile and people can look at it while they're on the bus, then you're just losing a lot of customers that way. Broken links, not being out of date, all of those things, it just really devalues, because if we don't trust your website, we don't trust you. So if we click on a link and it's broken and it doesn't take us where it's supposed to go, we're just out of there. So you've really damaged your reputation.
One of the things that I have to do that I don't think I've got one, I need to check, but I have it on my action plan, so I'm pretty sure I haven't done it. Which I did make in January 2023. So, guys, I'm doing really well right now, achieving my list of things that I need to do, is the custom 404 link. So a 404, do you want to explain what a 404 is and why it's good to have one of those just in case you do have a broken link on your website?
Yeah, so every website should have a 404 because basically it's where all broken links go to die. So it just means that there is a page that people go to so that Google recognizes that you've done something about it rather than it just being hugely broken. And you can do a lot of really fun things around it. So
I've seen some great ones.
There's just been some really, really fun. And it's
you almost want to find a 404 on someone's website. You're like, man, that was funny.
I'm like a Star Wars nutcase, and there's one like this. This is not the page you're looking for.
Oh, yes,
something
so
like that.
Good.
Yeah. So just cool things like that, and then there's always a link to redirect to the homepage or back up to the navigation. So most pages, if you've got a broken link, it's best to set up a redirect. If that content has ceased to exist, then the 404 will cover that off in the meantime. But again, you can run it through a backlink checker and it will show you all ones that go to 404, and you can just go through and just redirect them all.
I'm actually going, I've had a brainwave, Iona. I'm going to dress up as my spider. I'm going to use one of my spider photos of me dressed in spider thing and say, oops, it looks like my web is broken just here.
Yeah, perfect.
Because it fits with my marketing. So
and totally on brand and all that. You can just so have fun around it. Yeah, absolutely.
And then people will be like, how do I find a broken link on Rachel's website?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so 404 is like, there's a technical thing, but those are this. So actually, what are some other things that Google likes that people often miss out? Like I've got one of my favorites. Actually, talk about it as the favicon, because people often don't know what that is and they don't know why it's important. And I'm looking at you said, oh my gosh, look at all your tabs. I think you said it before. Like when you've got the tabs, like why is it important to have a favicon?
So because we do have so many tabs open, it makes you easily identifiable up there. Google does like it. I actually have no clue why, but in terms of, your checklist for your SEO, it's right up there. What was the rest of the question?
What is a favicon? Like we know it's in the tab. I just said to you it's in the tab, but what is it?
Yeah, it's literally a tiny icon. It's just something that you can create as part of your logo suite. If you've got somebody doing your logo, doing all your design work, then just ask if they can get a favicon. It's really has been interesting to me that I've had people that have had logos, they've had all the stuff done, and I've still had to send them back to their designer and ask for a favicon as well. It just doesn't cut.
It's quite
it's
interesting,
standard,
eh?
isn't it? You know, where it's just like, oh, okay. But with that, people's logos, on websites, sometimes, your logo is not the most important thing. It doesn't need to be the biggest thing on a page.
No. Oh, gosh, I'm so happy you say this. Because, your logo, it's the other thing is my bugbear is the logo and the byline. Like, people go, oh, I need to have this byline. I'm like, you don't need a byline because it will probably change in 12 months. So just have your logo if you're going to have it, and it doesn't need to be there.
And remember what it's there for. It's an identifier, right? It's something that we glance again, knowing, oh, we're in the right place because we see the logo of the business that we were expecting to buy. We're not looking at it. We're seeing it peripherally, and so I've seen one website recently, and literally the whole first screen is her logo, and it's like, dude, you just made your whole website about you, So I just immediately feel, oh, okay, yeah, not that interested.
So I promise I would never do this with you if you're a strategy client, but I do internally eye roll when people want to spend 45 minutes talking to me about their logo. Because I know, and I'm not saying logos aren't important, but actually for me, the logo is often the least important part of your business. Like if you don't know who your target audience is, who you're trying to talk to, how you're going to connect with them, that logo ain't doing any of that.
When I first set up my business, I literally threw it up overnight because my friend was setting up a co-working space. And my first logo was an orange tick I stole off the internet. They're going to hunt me down now, I know.
It's okay. My first logo was on Canva and it was a light bulb, which I still have brought that light bulb icon part into my logo. But my first one was literally a Canva design, which is not illegal, not allowed to do it, don't own the rights to it, chucked up on there. And, and I had that probably for the first 18 months until I really worked out what I was doing and who I was, is that perfect? No, but by then I could afford to pay a graphic designer and get a proper one.
Yeah, and when we have people starting out as well, if we're doing starter sites for people and they say, oh, do I need to do this? And Ben does just nice fonts.
Yeah,
like
a nice
literally
font.
Until you know. Yeah. And then you get to that point, like you say, normally a year down the track, maybe 18 months, then you look at the next level and then you can get it because you know who you are, you know who your audience is, and it just fits better. But I did want to touch on images, Rachel.
Oh, do. I love you talking about images.
So images are a little bit of my bugbear. It's like, can I just say this? Shitty ones on your phone are not good enough. They just...
You're sounding like Kate Thomas from our coaching group when she said to me, your hair is literally green and your promo pictures. You have to come and do something with me. And I was like, oh, all right. Because I was using my green screen behind me. And so my poor greys were catching up the green lights.
Yeah. It's just, look, I mean, I always get it with budget because, we work with growth focused businesses and, they're at different stages and you've got different amounts of budget. So you can't always afford, look, number one go-to is get a photo shoot. Like what you've done with yours is amazing.
I agree.
It's absolutely amazing. But people can't always start there. Yeah. So for me, it's like get a photo of you as a service-based business. If you do not have a photo of you and you're the product, I'm out of there. I'm just gone burgers. It's just, you're not standing up behind your brand.
Yeah.
If you have a team, your team needs to be there. And look, it can be something, it can actually be taken on your phone. But it needs to be planned. You need to all... Have brushed your hair.
You need to brush your hair. You need to have thought about what the background looks like. You can remove, like I've got a couple of clients where I've said, look, your photos, even though they were done by a professional, have all this busyness in the background. So you can go and use Canva and blur that out, or you can get rid of it and cut it out for a headline. So you can do those things, but preferably think about it. Make sure you're well lit. Make sure you've thought about having a couple of different options. So you're to the side, to the middle, to the other side. Like, write a list of the things that you could have so that you've got things to make it easier. Oh, can I, before you go into your little ranty thing, because I liked your rant, we should say, I have Rachel ranty pants. You should have Iona ranty pants because it's also really good. But on Canva, there's this new thing where if you've got an image and you're in the middle of the image, you can highlight just yourself and shift yourself to the right or the left, and it fixes the stuff that should be behind you so that you can change it for a website or something like that.
That's awesome to know, because one of our challenges is, we do a lot of websites for coaches, and so they need to be front and center. They are the product. And so, but when you want to do the hero image at the top of something, it's landscape. The number of times we get portrait. And, I've said, look, we can't make this wider, or we end up with just giant face in the middle.
Yes, you get like this, it's so squeegee. All I'm going to show is my teeth and my nose. Oh, can I just also say while you're there, it's the same as if you're getting any PR. Like if I am doing something, like if we were doing a stuff column on this, which I'm not doing that anymore with these, but if I was doing that, so many people would only have a portrait to send me, and stuff needs, like newspapers need landscape. So when you're doing your photos, you must have landscape as well as portrait, just to have those in there. But anyway, keep on going with your photo range, because I'm loving it.
Yeah. So, for us, we talk through with people what they're going to need. I had one lady, and she's lovely, and she just had this beautiful photo shoot and looked amazing, and literally all of the shots were portrait.
Yeah.
So we had to kind of redesign the website around it. It was not.
It makes it hard.
We made it work. She'd paid significant amount of money, but had she said at the beginning, what do you need? It's like, actually we need a mixture, but we need a couple of landscape. We need you to be positioned left or positioned right. You need to have that variety, all of those things, the preparation. But if you don't have, the funds to do a big photo shoot, budget for it and get it done within a year.
I agree. I so agree. Yeah,
but you can use stock images, but you still have to use the right ones. Now, look, there's so many sites, and it's like, oh, these are free. And I've just been on, I was actually stalking some competition, and imagine my horror to see a photo on there that is used on a gazillion websites. Now, you can image check. So if you get a image, let's say, of something like Unsplash, now they have really cool images.
They do.
But they are just some of them are so overused.
Yeah.
Just put it into Google search and see what it comes up with, and just be really, really careful about what other sites are using those same kind of images, or how many.
I've just had a thought about Unsplash, because I think with the algorithm, they probably show you the ones that are used most first. And I wonder if there's a filter where you can go least used. I wonder if there is
I'm not sure if there is, but...
Go to page 12.
Yeah, but don't be generic in your search. Be highly specific, because there is gold in there. I mean, really beautiful. I mean, I pay for iStock because you've got more variety. You've got but look, demographic as well. Look, who we are in New Zealand, we have a very definite demographic, which is different to a lot of American photos.
Yeah.
So
our faces look different. Like I can actually spot,
our body size,
our body shape. Yeah, everything's different.
Everything.
We tend to wear less makeup. We dress differently. Both you and I are having messy hair days, and that's kind of normal for Kiwis, many Kiwis, and I think there is you need to have a look and feel, and there are some sites starting to crop up in New Zealand, Australia, with actual New Zealand Australians in them, which is really great, but it is hard to find them. But it's important, we want to see a range of ethnicities that match your demographic. For example, I work with an early childhood centre, and they were in South Auckland, and their primary target audience was Māori and Pacific Islanders. Every single child and family on their website was Pakeha. And I was like, the first thing we've got to change is these photos, because these aren't we're not trying to be anti-Pakeha. I'm trying to say, hey, let's value the audience you have. Let's actually make them feel that it's for them. And so let's incorporate photos that actually show that they've come to the right place.
Yeah, absolutely. True Stock is a really nice one in New Zealand.
That's a nice one.
And they do a lot of our demographic, because it is very hard to find Māori and Pacifica images.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's really important to actually think about that. Like, thinking about that also with the stock, I was going to say with the stock photos, you can create your own stock photos if you're having that photo shoot. Pay for them as well. Like have a list of things that you would like maybe. Like if you're wanting, what would be a stock photo? I guess things like having a coffee cup on like, I know photographers who hate this, but like a coffee cup with your laptop or, like being at a site, you could arrange some of those stock photos.
Yeah,
as well.
and meetings, like, if a lot of the work that you do is meetings, or even if you do a lot of Zoom, even pictures of you on Zoom, it's back to the trust, and like you say, with the education centre, if you're going there seeing Pākehā and you're not Pākehā, you think, is this right for me? So every little thing that we do on the website creates a feeling, and we want the feeling to be warm and fuzzy, not a disconnect. And images just play a huge part of it. So it's just really worth taking the time. And if you use stock images, use them temporarily and keep them on brand as well. Like just putting random pictures up there, just put a bit more thought into them.
Okay, I've got 3 technical questions about images. The first one is, you mentioned before that site speed can be impacted by file size, including image size. So if you have this beautiful big image that's come from a photographer, and often they will do web res as well, so they are smaller, but is there something you can do to make those photos smaller without compromising on the quality?
Yes, there's a lot of online compression tools, some use them in the back end of the website. I'm not a fan because image compression plugins tend to create compressions of all possible size variations. So you might end up with 20 different sizes. So that actually, while you've compressed the image, just has a negative long-term impact. We use, I think the team use Image Resizer, and it's got a compression tool, so you can resize it. Talk to your web designer, they'll tell you what size to use. Like often if you're getting a shoot, it comes in at 6 megs or something like that, and it's just way too big. It's just way too big.
Yeah.
And more and more as well, you're getting web files, which will be so you just get them in a different format.
Oh, I was going to ask about that because this is a change, and I don't actually think Canva's caught up with this. So it used to be that, well, back in the day, it started off with JPEGs, and then we went to PNGs, which was a higher quality that would stay with the resolution if you increase the image. But now we've moved to this new format, which is called web file. Is that right?
I don't know what it's actually called.
But that's a different type of thing, and you can get a converter if you want to convert to those. Like you can go from a PNG, like you find a free converter if you want to, if you're doing it yourself.
Yep. And often there's bulk converters. So just changing the file size, and then people put photos on a CDN, which is something like Cloudflare.
Yeah.
And what that means is that the let's just say an image of your image shows on your website, but the image actually lives externally, and so it's not slowing it down. It's the same like videos.
That's how it works. Okay, I didn't know because I've got it and I don't know how it works. So that's awesome.
Yeah. It's like with videos. Like you never upload a video directly to a website because it's just horrific. You want to get a link to Vimeo or YouTube or something like that, and that's where they live.
Oh, you know what this is like? Because you're a Star Wars fan. It's kind of like, when Leia is trying to communicate with Han Solo, and they turn on the thing, and it's like the image of her is there, but she's somewhere else instead.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's 100% like that. Yeah,
but not translucent. And still, it's a better quality image.
Yeah.
They needed our technology in the future.
Totally.
Okay, so that's one of the ones I want to ask. The other thing I wanted to ask, and I'm going to say my knowledge or understanding of images, as I always say, Google is like a robot, and it's a blind robot. So if you've got an image there and there's no words attached to that image, Google just sees it as a big blind spot or gap in your website. Is that correct? Is that kind of like so alt tags? Can you explain to people why they're important and what they are?
Yeah. So alt tags on the back end of a website. So when you upload an image, you can add an alt tag, and people just leave it because they don't know what it is. But basically, it tells Google what that image is all about. But also it tells people for accessibility. So people that are vision impaired and they're using readers, the reader goes through and tells them about the image. It's also a really great sneaky place to add in your SEO, so add in your keywords. So that's around, so you can kind of describe the image but add in your keywords around it as well. So
for example,
if you're a relationship coach or something like that, and it's couple kissing before seeing their relationship coach or something. I don't know. I'm just making that up.
Or
but
it could be couple kissing before seeing Kate Alabaster, relationship coach NZ.
Yep. It's totally so. But the other thing to know about that is that you should not duplicate any of them on that page. So people often go, oh yeah, well I want to add in my keywords, so we want to do web design Wellington, and I'll put that on all of them. No, you can't do that. And accessibility is going to become in more and more as well around websites. So it should be used a bit more as general practice for people. But good for SEO, good for, helps you traffic, helps Google, and Google bases everything on relevance. So it wants to be relevant to the page. So if the image is talking about relationships, the content next to it needs to be talking about relationships as well.
I love that. I've got a third question because I don't know the answer to this one. So this is totally for me. Captions, yes or no on... No, cool. Because I don't do them and I don't like them, but I was kind of hoping you'd say that. But lots of people do feel because there's a gap for it that they should caption it, like put a little caption underneath it. It just looks ugly. I think so too. And
it detracts because we're not wanting to tell people everything. We're giving them the image is there to give them the sense and the feeling, right? Yeah. And if we've got a caption, then we're telling them what they need to be thinking about it.
Yeah, I love that.
So no. And I'm actually, this is going to be controversial here, but I don't like videos on a website. I am not a fan.
Okay, we do disagree on this one.
Yeah, I knew that we would. I was just talking with a lady on her website. I did a review for her, and I'm saying, look, I'm sorry, I've gone through your whole website, and I don't know what it is you're actually offering. And she goes, oh, yeah, it's in that video. I don't watch videos, right?
No,
so
I agree with you. I actually 100% agree with you. I don't believe that the video should have new content in it. I think that the video should be for those who like video, plus it gives you that Google boost from YouTube. But I 100% agree with you. I hate it when I ask someone a question like that and they say, well, you should watch the video. Excuse me, I'm the user. I like if someone sends me a voice message unsolicited, I'm like, hi, what are you wanting to talk to me? Oh, it's in the voice message. Okay, like on a LinkedIn, I'm like, okay, but I don't want to listen to your voice message. That's not how I want to communicate. So you write to me. No, I sent it to you in the voice message. Yeah, you're communicating with me. So now you and I have hit the same thing. So I actually agree with you. I think the video should be an optional add-on for the YouTube, for the SEO benefit, and for those who may like it. But I 100% agree with you. It should not have new content on it.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree with you.
Yeah. And a lot of, again, coaching, people, they want to do an intro. Oh, I'd love to do this intro video, Iona. And it's like, over my dead body. But I don't say that out now.
So for example, like the About Us page, you could have like one that basically covers the same points and have that at the bottom. Or you could have one with like... But I also agree, because the other thing is they'll go, I paid this website. We're getting in trouble with people. I'm doing some stuff with a video coach later on, but I have the same when they go, oh yeah, I paid this video person and we've done this amazing, so I want this promo video on my website. I'm like, it has nothing that's going to convert. It's just got a whole lot of swanky little bits and pieces like swishing in front of myself. People can't see my hands moving, but so I am actually on your side with this one. I want the video there, but it has to be meaningful and have the SEO benefit. But besides that, don't put your dodgy videos on.
Yeah, if it doesn't add value, it actually loses value.
I so agree with you.
Yeah. And look, there's just a huge demographic that don't watch videos.
Yeah, me.
Right.
I don't watch videos.
I just keep scrolling. Now, if I think there's something eye-catching or it might be interesting, I might click on it. But 99%, I just don't. So,
and we do have to stop in a minute, and also I want to make sure you time, but I will just say that my demographic, which is mainly 40 plus business owners, 40 plus year old business owners, we tried video as our lead gen, like in terms of our chat, and because it works with lots of different markets, and we just had 3 months of no leads through our website when we did it. Took it off, immediately went back, and people use the chat and use it for leads, but the video chat just didn't work for us. And I'm not gonna. I think I'm quite good on video. I don't think it was my delivery. I just think there are definitely demographics too where that's not the converter for them. I don't play with that stuff. I'm like, oh God, so I don't do it. So, and I didn't want to not do it because I don't use it, but it was a real test. Like, you do have to really think about whether you just chuck something on because people say it's a great idea. It might not work for your website.
Yeah. And look, there is testing because things change, and you might have found it completely the opposite. So there is test, but there's also time to let it go, right?
Yeah, I agree.
It's just like, don't hang on to it forever.
Don't hang on to it. Don't let your business go down the Googler because of it. Now, I am going to out Iona here and say that Iona admitted to me at the beginning of this, before we hit record, this was the first time she's ever done a podcast. And I just want to say, round of applause for Iona because it was amazing. You were beautiful. You should do them more often because you're awesome. I also loved that we had some points that we disagreed on because that's always a goodie for me. But if people want to get that amazing lead generation from you, which I can't remember the name we decided on. We probably haven't got it finally sorted out, but we'll get it and do it and get that 15 points to go and check and then go either, cool, we're going to sort this out, or, oh my gosh, I need an owner. How do they find you? Like, what website do they go to?
They go to growmybusiness.co.nz. And there will be a banner or a pop-up when they can just click and download. And at the moment, it's called 15 Reasons Why Your Website Isn't Generating Any Leads.
Perfect. It's a good name. I would get that. I would just tell you too, for those of you, get that website going, doing that. And I'll just say to you, Iona, I think I mentioned to you that I'd put that download also in my LinkedIn and my Facebook. I'm getting 2 to 3 downloads a day since I started doing that, more than I was doing before. And I got my second, so since doing that, I got my second lead directly just from that, where they both said, I got halfway through it and realized, I don't want to do this myself. I want someone else to help me. And that's what I want for you for this, because I think it's a beautiful resource and you've done a really great job with it. It's not a crappy, I want people to see it and realize, like, quality lead generation, quality downloads is so important when you've got a quality service. And that's what you've done. It is very, very good.
Thank you.
Now, thank you so much. It's been a huge pleasure having you on. You've really set the bar for the other 2 people I'm interviewing today for this. Sorry, Nat and Michelle. But thank you so much. And people get in touch with Iona, especially if you've got a service-based business, because she is really good at doing it. I would trust any client with her. And that's a big thing for me because I have to make sure that they are going to be doing that. I've got a few website designers that do that, but one of the things with Iona, which really makes her stand apart, is that strategy side. So I do really recommend her and her brain and how she works and her team. It's just, they've got a great system. I trust their systems. And just quietly, I personally think they're a little bit undervalued. I think that they could be higher priced, but she's not listening to me about that. So you're getting a pretty good deal if you work with her. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Rachel. Really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. You made my morning. Thank you.